What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, live for week number 1 NFL picks. We are picking just like last year, just like every year. We are picking straight up. We are picking versus the spread, and we are going to own the NFL this season. I'm excited for another year of the NFL, another year of football, and for kickoff tonight, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be an awesome season. I'm looking forward to it, and you guys can catch me here each and every week. Typically, these videos will be on Wednesday nights, but just for this week exclusively, I wanted to do Thursday because of all the NFL predictions I had to put out earlier this week. So just today, exclusively Thursday, but going forward, we will have Wednesday night to talk about these games and to preview them and to break them down in depth, as I always do, versus the spread, and of course, straight up, giving you my picks and my recommendations for who to bet on, who to pick, and who to go with this year, guys. So what's going on, everybody in the chat? Jay Martins is in the chat. He says, Mitch, in your AFC and NFC record predictions, you have one win too many and one loss too few. It's 273 and 271. All right. Thanks for the heads up. I tried to do the math on that. I guess I was slightly off, but it is what it is. Appreciate the heads up, though. So let's get into it. Before we do get started, guys, make sure that you do Gronk spike that like button. I know that I've been putting a lot of videos out, so a lot of people aren't going to get this notification. So make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more bottom line view NFL picks, NFL videos, and NFL content. Before we do get started, guys, I do want to talk about my bookie, because this is where I'm going to be betting this season. I'm going to be betting on my bookie, all right? And I've already bet. I'm not going to even lie. I've already bet on tonight's game. The thing with my bookie is tonight, it's basically free money, guys. Thanks to my bookie and their lock of the season, if either team scores between Tampa Bay or Dallas, you hear me right now? If either team scores between the Cowboys or Tampa, and trust me, there is no way Tampa's going to get shut out. I'll just say that much. You win, okay? You win. And that's a sure bet. And when you get a sure bet, you take it. Trust me. So head over to mybookie.ag today. Use my promo code BLV100 and instantly receive double your first deposit. So you get free money here with MyBookie. Tampa's going to light it up tonight, so go over there, bet with my bookie. Tonight only, guys. Remember, tonight only. Select the lock of the season, and if either team scores between Tampa or Dallas, you win. This is the best bet because it's a bet you can't lose. My bookie is also playing host to several contests this season, including their $100,000 super contest. It only costs $10 to join, and you can win big prizes with money on the line, so don't wait. Get started. Head over to mybookie.ag. Use my code BLV100. Instantly receive double your first deposit. Use that lock of the season. Get started because I'm going to go over there right after this. Bet on it right now. The lock of the season. Use that code BLV100. Head over to MyBookie. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. All right, guys. MyBookie. Use it, win some cash. I'm just telling you right now. I mean, if you want free money, head over to MyBookie. That's all I'm going to say. All right, let's get started with these picks, though. Make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. Let's go. And share it with your friends. Share it with the people. Share it with your social media if you can. Let's go. All right, so let's start with the Dallas Cowboys versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I will be live tonight for this game. If you guys are wondering, I will be live tonight, and hopefully we will receive the notifications for that. But Dallas versus Tampa Bay is going to be an exciting game, I believe. Just the opener is always an exciting game, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm always pumped no matter the contest, no matter the game, no matter the matchup when it comes to the Thursday night opener in the NFL. I'm just curious to see the NFL back on my television, but we've got a rare one tonight between the Bucs and the Cowboys. Tampa Bay started, I believe, weeks back when I was looking at betting on this game. I think it started at like -6, -6.5. It went up to -7, -7.5. It's continued to escalate, all right? It's continued to escalate more and more and more, really since August, July, when the line first kind of came out, even earlier in the season, but it does seemingly have risen since, this line came out, and I'm not really sure exactly why, outside of possibly the Zach Martin thing. Maybe people are buying into the hype with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I totally get because they're awesome. Personally, I'm not going to waste your time here. I feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the superior team. I do not see them losing this game in any way, shape, or form. They're at home in this game in front of their crowd. Remember, for the first time ever, guys, right? They didn't have their fans last year, right? It was only like half the capacity at the Super Bowl. It wasn't 100%. They're going to have all their fans there with the cannons just firing everywhere. You're going to have the Super Bowl banner up. They're going to raise that. Tom Brady's going to get the people going. Devin White's going to get the people going. We've got Antonio Brown looking for revenge. We've got Mike Evans coming off his best training camp of all time, according to Byron Leftwich. We've got an overpowering team here and roster in Tampa Bay, and I am just not sold that Dallas will be ready for this whatsoever. Dallas, yes, they do have a good offense, but I don't think they're going to find much success early on. I think Tampa Bay is going to move the ball at will early in this game. They're going to put up points early in this game. Dallas is going to have to fight back early and often, and it's not going to be enough, right? I don't think the offensive line without Zach Martin is elite at all. I think it's just average. And when you're playing a front such as JPP, Shaq Barrett, Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, William Golston, these guys are going to get after it. Dak Prescott coming off the knee injury. I'm nervous about that. The cornerbacks in Tampa are not bad. They're often slept on. Sean Murphy-Bunting will likely see a lot of CeeDee Lamb. Amari Cooper will likely see a lot of Carlton Davis. And Jamel Dean will probably be on Michael Gallup, and that's the matchups that you like to see there. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of time for Dak to hit these receivers down the field. He's going to have to get it out quick. The run game probably won't be too effective, as Tampa Bay has been the #1 run defense in football the last 2 seasons. On the other side of the ball, I don't know how Dallas matches up with Tom Brady's offense and these weapons. I expect him to sling it everywhere, and often. And I think Tampa Bay will win this game going away. If I had to pick, versus the spread, which now it's got to 9, which is just not great value. And in some places it's 9.5. You could still bet if you think they're going to win by double digits, which is perfectly fair. I think they probably will. But just because the line has risen to such a point, like 9, 9.5, it does become, not the smartest bet in the world when you could have gotten it at 6.5, which is where I got it. So I think that Tampa Bay wins this game. I think they win it by at least double digits. I'm going to say that Tampa wins this game 34-20 over the Dallas Cowboys in the opener with Ed Sheeran doing the opening concert. It's going to be a fun night. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm looking forward to another season of Tom Brady, guys. I have not known the NFL without Tom Brady. I'm going to be honest with you. I've not known the NFL without Tom Brady. This guy's been playing in the NFL since I was 5 or 6 years old. He continues to play today. It's just an absolute incredible achievement, and I continue to look forward to seeing another season of Tom Brady because I don't know how many more we're going to get. The greatest player of all time. He's going to open this season with a dub. The next game is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are... Is this game in Buffalo, actually? I actually want to double check that. If anyone can confirm that for me, that would be appreciated. I almost feel like it's in Pittsburgh, or maybe I'm just misconstruing maybe it is in Buffalo, but I feel like I'm just thinking about the games that they've played in the past. But overall, regardless of the location, I like Buffalo in this game. Okay, Buffalo is -6.5 in this game, and that line hasn't really changed. It's often stayed the same. I think it might have been -6 at one point. It might rise, near kickoff, but I feel like -6.5, -7 is probably where it's going to land. Buffalo, to me, is the superior team in this matchup, and they really pose a lot of issues for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. So Buffalo can really pass the ball. They can spread the wealth. They can dice you. They can slice you every which way they like, right? Cole Beasley out of the slot is really the matchup to watch versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cole Beasley should dominate. the Steelers don't really have a true nickel corner. Since losing Mike Hilton, they've struggled to replace this player, and they don't really have a true guy, right? So it's probably going to be Sutton, as far as I can tell, that plays in the nickel position, and I just don't see that guy matching up one-on-one with Cole Beasley. I've seen it many, many times before with my Patriots, where guys like Julian Edelman and Wes Welker just absolutely obliterate this defense because of their quickness, in and out of breaks. And I feel like Cole Beasley is the same mold of receiver. So he is going to be, I think, the main X factor of this game. I could see him having 7, 8, 9 catches in this game and really dominating. Obviously, Stephon Diggs had a huge game versus the Steelers last year, and I could see him having another huge game. I don't see how Joe Hayden is covering this guy. They're going to have to double team him, and that's going to take a guy out from blitzing or containing Josh Allen. Allen is he looks so good. He looks so good in the preseason. I think that carries over into this year. I've named him my MVP for a reason. The guy's going to spray all over the place. I think he's just going to dominate this game. I think the passing attack of the Buffalo Bills is going to dominate this game, and that's why they're going to win. I do think they'll put up 30 points in this game. The Steelers do have a good pass rush, but I think just Josh Allen's ability to buy time and his athleticism allows him to, kind of get rid of the ball, and then you also throw in Brian Daboll, who's a Patriots, former Patriot coach. If any staff has had success versus the Steelers scheme and Steelers defense, it's been that staff. So I feel like a lot of that stuff is going to carry over into this game. You look at the defensive side of the ball for Buffalo, and I'm intrigued to see how Pittsburgh's new offense looks under Matt Canada. That's something I'll be watching. I'm intrigued to see the receivers, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster. I will say whoever's drawing Tre'Davious White will likely not be thrown to very much in this game. Tre'Davious White, I remember a couple years ago, had a pick 6 versus the Steelers in that Sunday night football game. I don't see the Steelers' offensive line really dominating this matchup, which is where you need to dominate if you want to beat the Bills. I think to beat the Bills, you need to be able to control the clock. You need to be able to control the line of scrimmage on the offensive side of the ball, and I really don't see the Steelers doing that. I do think Ben could have success through the air, but I don't think it will be as often as Josh Allen. So I'm going to go with the Bills to win this game. I will also take the favorite, the Buffalo Bills, to cover the 6.5 points in this game. I think they should win by 7 to 10 points. I'm not expecting a blowout here, but I think Buffalo is a supreme top team in the AFC, and the Steelers are simply an average one. So I'm going to take Buffalo at home to start the season strong, win this game, and win by a touchdown. Next, we have the New York Jets at the Carolina Panthers. This game is really intriguing, man. This game is really intriguing to me. Hey, guys, if you're just joining, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button, and make sure you do check out my Bookie. I put the comment at the top of the chat, so make sure you check that out. Also, the link is in the description if you want to check out the lock of the season. If any team scores Cowboys or the Bucks, you win. So make sure you check that out, my Bookie, all right? The New York Jets, the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are at home in this game. This is the Sam Darnold revenge game. Revenge. I'm talking revenge game. Zach Wilson is in the lineup for the Jets. I'm excited to see the debut of the young kid that they say is my long-lost brother. I appreciate him. He was my top quarterback in the draft class, and I expect him to start off strong versus Carolina's defense without A.J. Bouye in the lineup. I'm not quite sold on their depth in the secondary. I think they have a solid defense moving forward, but I do feel if the Jets can protect Zach Wilson, that'll be the key to this game to keeping it competitive. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Jets' offense this year. I think Elijah Moore could instantly have an impact. I think Corey Davis could instantly have an impact. I think, these plethora of running backs like Ty Johnson, look out for him, could have a decent game. I think the Jets are going to keep it competitive. I think Zach Wilson is generally better than the public thinks, and I think he will keep it interesting because I think he's the best quarterback in this game. Now, on the other hand, I do think that Sam Darnold will have success in his own right. I think Sam Darnold looked good in the preseason. I liked his movement in the pocket. I liked his ability to throw off platform. It looked good to me. His arm strength looked good. I think Carolina's key is protecting Sam Darnold because their offensive line is clearly outmatched, in my opinion, from the Jets defensive line. The Jets defensive line is very good. They have Quinn Williams, John Franklin Myers, Vinnie Curry, Shaq Lawson. They've got a lot of big guys. It's going to be tough for McCaffrey to run in between the tackles, so he's going to have to bounce it outside, and that might be challenging. Where I do see McCaffrey really thriving is in the receiving game out of the backfield versus the linebackers of the Jets, which I think will be challenging for them to cover him. And then you look at the receiving options, and that's where really Darnold will thrive, is if he can get the ball out quick, if those Panthers receivers can get open quickly, Terrace Marshall, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore versus these corners, the worst corner group in football. I think that the Panthers can have success offensively, but it's going to come down to finding that happy balance of protecting Darnold, but also getting the ball out quick, because the way that the Panthers lose this game is by allowing Sam Darnold to sit back there and, have the ball for a long period of time, because that's where the Jets will win this game, is if you allow their defensive line to win the game, right? So I think the Jets keep it competitive. They keep it close, but I think the Panthers ultimately pull it out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the Jets plus the 4.5, but I will take Carolina to win. I'm going to say the game ends up being 20-17 for Carolina, and it's an interesting, close, competitive game, but Carolina is just too much skill talent to overcome for the Jets. So Jets stay competitive, but not quite good enough. Next, we have the Jacksonville Jags at the Houston Texans. This game is the game that I will not be watching, and I don't care who knows it. I'm not going to be watching this game, even on the rerun. I'm sorry, guys. That's just the way it's going to be. But Jacksonville and Houston, man, this is the two worst teams arguably in football. I mean, Detroit's probably up there as well, and maybe a couple other teams. But, Houston is the worst team. There's no debate. I am intrigued to see Trevor Lawrence in his first action, and that might be the reason I go back and watch this game, to be quite honest with you. But Jacksonville is just not good either, and I was not sold by what I saw in the preseason. Urban Meyer seemed lost. I don't know about the offensive scheme. Houston, though, has lost so much talent. They are so depleted of talent. Brandon Cooks is there, and Laramie Tunsil is there, and that's really it. They got rid of Bradley Roby, who was their best corner on their team. I mean, they traded away Shaq Lawson. They've just getting rid of all these veteran players. It almost feels like they're 100% in on basically confirming that they get the first pick in the NFL draft. Deshaun Watson's not coming back anytime soon. I think Jacksonville should win this game. They are more talented. They have the better quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. I think they have the better receiving core, the better offense in general, and I'll take that in his first game. Now, the defense for Jacksonville does somewhat concern me, but you're playing a Texans offense that I don't think is very explosive, and I don't think will be able to take advantage of the weak Jacksonville pass defense, because Tyrod Taylor's not an aggressive downfield passer. So I'm going to take Jacksonville to win this game 24-14 over the Texans. I think it will probably stay somewhat competitive, but I'm going to ultimately take Jacksonville to win it, and I will also take Jacksonville to cover the 3. Next, we have the Arizona Cardinals at the Tennessee Titans. This game is very interesting. I could see this game going either way, to be quite honest with you. Now, Tennessee's at home, which I think is actually pretty relevant here, because I see these teams as both being fairly even on both sides of the ball. They both have similar concerns and similar strengths. I think both offenses could very well move the ball at will in this game. Kyler Murray is going to be a challenge for the front of Tennessee to really catch up and, deal with his mobility. DeAndre Hopkins could be an absolute mismatch nightmare in this game, as will Rondell Moore and Chase Edmonds, who I feel like could get open and could make plays. And then you have the defense, where I think it's going to be intriguing to see the Cardinals' front seven versus the Titans' run game, because the Cardinals have a very good front seven, and I think they're capable of slowing down Derrick Henry. I'm just not sold that they can slow down the pass attack of Ryan Tannehill. So I think both quarterbacks will have success in this game. I think both quarterbacks will make plays in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way in a close game, but I do ultimately expect it to be a close game. Right now, Tennessee is favored by 3. They're at home. I'm thinking about this one. I really don't know. As you guys know, I mostly pick these games live, and I go through the process in my head and spit out, verbal diarrhea at you as we go. But I think One challenge for me to overcome, one hurdle for me to overcome is that the Cardinals cornerbacks, like Marco Wilson, I believe is the kid's name, the rookie. He'll be replacing Malcolm Butler. Man, I could see Kyler Murray pulling this game off. I really could. I'm challenged. I'm challenged with this one because the Titans do have really good receivers. I assume Julio's going to be playing and healthy. I'm going to take the Titans. I don't feel good about it, though. I would not bet on this game. I think these two teams are too close. I'm going to take the Titans because they're at home. I'll also take the Titans because I believe in the coach more, and I believe that he'll make the bold decisions to go for it or the bold plays necessary to win. I also think that those receivers are going to be very tough for Arizona to cover on a consistent basis. But I don't think this is a foregone conclusion at all. I think Arizona could very well win this game. So, yeah, this is a game I'm staying away from. I probably won't bet it, but I'll be looking forward to watching it for sure. So, that's a good game. That's probably the most underrated game of the week, to be honest. This is also a very underrated game. We have the Los Angeles Chargers at the Washington football team. Washington is really, I think, a difficult matchup for the Chargers in this first game because Washington has an excellent pass rush. They have an excellent front seven, and the Chargers have a completely new offensive line. 4 out of 5 players are brand new for them across the line, and that means that you're going to have to block Chase Young, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, Matt Ioannidis. You're going to have to block all these dudes coming at you, right? In the first week with little to no chemistry or continuity. I'm really looking forward to seeing Justin Herbert versus this defense. Really looking forward to seeing Keenan Allen. Really looking forward to seeing the new Brandon Staley defense. But I think it will take time for the Chargers to grow into their identity of what they will become later in this season. I think they're going to ascend. I don't think they're going to start off hot. I think Washington is a team that will start off hot because they have a lot of continuity, especially on defense. They have a veteran quarterback who's been around and been there and done that. They have a lot of continuity within their skill group and their offensive line. So I think Washington will win. They're at home. It's challenging in Justin Herbert's first game versus an actual crowd. He's going on the road with a new offensive line. That's always challenging on communication. So I'm going to take Washington to win this game. It's a pick 'em right now, so I'm just going to take Washington straight up. I think it will be fairly tight, fairly low scoring. I'm going to say it's going to be like 24-20, 27-23 maybe, somewhere in there, or like 20-17, like somewhere in that range. I could see it being in the teens. I could see it being in the low 20s. But I think Washington will win this game outright, and I'm going to take them at home to win this game. I think Fitzpatrick typically starts the season off hot, and I think he will here. I just have a lot of questions about the Chargers early in the year, but I don't think that means I have a lot of questions about them heading forward. I think they'll eventually grow into what they'll become, but this is a tough game to start the season off, and that defensive line, offensive line matchup really has me going with Washington. So I will take Washington. I will say if the Chargers do win this game, I'll be very impressed. I'll be very impressed because I think that speaks a lot to their coaching staff, getting them prepared and getting them ready. Also, Austin Eckler has a hamstring issue that has left him a little bit limited during practice, which also concerns me a tad bit. So Washington's my pick for this game. The next one, we have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Atlanta Falcons. What's going on, everybody? JR, what's going on, bro? What's going on, Dominic? Just saying hi to everybody. Mr. Singh, he's been in here. Turtle picking the Titans in a big one. Connor, what's going on, Connor? Richard Fleming, what's going on, guys? Jimmy, hopefully I see you guys later for the game tonight, for the stream. Leo's in the chat. Bart's in the chat. Get in the chat if you're not already. The spread in the last game is a pick'em. It's just a straight pick'em. So whoever you think's gonna win, you pick that team. The Eagles at the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta's -3. I'll tell you this right now: if there's a game on the schedule this week that I don't want to bet on, it's this game. Like, I am not betting either way in this game because I have absolutely no idea what these teams are. Like, I have no inkling of what Atlanta is or Philadelphia is. So I am not betting on this game, and I'd recommend you do the same. Atlanta is a team that consistently upsets bettors because they don't really fulfill expectations. Now, I will say, I think they've upgraded their coaching staff this offseason, adding Dean Pease to the defense, adding Arthur Smith to the offense as head coach. I think that's massive for them for sure. But their defense, talent-wise, is very weak, and I don't love their secondary. Other than Grady Jarrett and Deion Jones and maybe Aluakon, I don't love a lot of the talent on the defense. I don't think they necessarily have the cornerbacks to fit this scheme necessarily. I think A.J. Terrell is good, but I don't see them playing a ton of man the way Dean Pease likes to. And the offensive line is very concerning in this matchup, to be honest. Like, Philadelphia has a very good defensive line, and if as long as Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox are good to go and they're healthy and they're playing at the same level they've played at for the last 5, 6, 7 years, then this is going to be tough for Philadelphia. Darius Slay will be on Calvin Ridley. I think that's a good matchup, but Calvin Ridley, I would say, would probably win that matchup most times than not. Kyle Pitts, first action, taking on not necessarily know who, but Kyle Pitts should dominate this game too. So I think the receiving talent of Atlanta can have success, but I am concerned that Atlanta won't find much on the ground. I'm also concerned that Atlanta won't find much in terms of protecting Matt Ryan. I'm concerned about that for sure. So I think Atlanta is going to move the ball inconsistently in this game. I think there's going to be parts where they move the ball down the field at will, and I think there's going to be parts where they go 3 and out because of that defensive line mismatch, I should say. So that side of the ball is very interesting. The other side of the ball, again, I don't like Atlanta's defense, but Jalen Hurts isn't exactly Tom Brady, so he's not going to exactly go out there and just distribute the ball and rip up this secondary by any means. Atlanta does have fairly good talent up front to stop the run, and they do have a lot of speed up front to slow down Jalen Hurts running the ball, Miles Sanders running the ball. So at the end of the day, when I look at all the matchups across the board, I feel like I'm going to go with Atlanta. I have more confidence in their coaching staff. I have more confidence in their quarterback, but by no means do I think that this is a for sure thing. I could easily see Philadelphia winning because of their offensive line and their defensive line, which is superior to Atlanta's defensive line and offensive line. But I'm going to take the quarterback here, and go with Atlanta in this game. I guess I'll take them to cover. It's only 3 points, but again, I'm not super pumped about that one. So next game, we have the Seattle Seahawks at the Indianapolis Colts. Seattle is minus a field goal in this game. Guys, I'm going to be straight up with you right now. Seattle, I'm taking all day in this game. Now, the one thing that scares me about Seattle is that Seattle always consistently plays weird games, and they always play close games for some reason, especially with Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson has consistently had to go down the field at the end of games to win it, and it just feels like Seattle never plays a normal game. But I like Seattle in this matchup. There's a few reasons for it. So Seattle is playing a defense that's fairly similar to the scheme that they play. At least it's fairly transferable. Russell Wilson, I think, is going to be able to really slice down the field versus Indianapolis. I think DK Metcalf will be a tough cover. Tyler Lockett especially, I think, is a tough cover for Indianapolis. And we'll see. But Russell Wilson usually starts the season off hot. He usually plays very, very, very well in the first few weeks. And usually Seattle has a few new wrinkles on the offensive side of the ball to start the year. They have a new offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron, who I think is going to upgrade this offensive scheme and the consistency of the passing game. I think you're going to see more play action from Seattle in this game. And I'm not too concerned about them blocking Indianapolis. I'm not overly impressed with the depth chart of Indianapolis's defensive line. I know they have DeForest Buckner, but you add a guy like Gabe Jackson into the mix for Seattle in the interior, I think that helps. So I like Seattle to score some points. On the other side of things, we haven't seen much of Carson Wentz. Quentin Nelson, I'm not sure his status for this game. Seattle is pretty good at stopping the run over the years, and I think Jonathan Taylor won't exactly run over Seattle, so it will be pretty much a stalemate there. I could see them having success through the air for sure, but I just don't know what to expect from the quarterback play of Indianapolis. So the game's in a dome. It's a controlled environment. I'm going to go with the team with the high-flying weapons and the great quarterback and the consistent team year in, year out. I'm going to go with Seattle to win this game. I'll also take Seattle to cover the 3. But I do think it'll be fairly close as long as Carson is healthy. So I'm going to say like 27-20 for Seattle. And Seattle typically doesn't blow anybody out. So I'll take 27-20 for Seattle to win this game on the road. Next, what's going on, everybody? Big Al, what's going on, Big Al? Jimmy says Wilson should be benched. Oof. Turtle says Latavius Murray to the Ravens. Daniel says Ravens should sign Todd Gurley. Did Gus Edwards get hurt? Man, what the heck is going on with them? And Marcus Peters is out? Well, that sucks. I guess I wouldn't be picking the Ravens to make the playoffs now. That's unfortunate for them, man. That sucks, dude. That's 2 of their best players, to be quite honest, or at least 2 of their most important players. So we'll talk about that game later on with the Raiders, but if you can jump on that right now, reacting to this live, I would take the Raiders if you can right now, plus 4.5. I was already leaning towards the Ravens in that game, or the Raiders in that game, to be honest with you, and I don't think that's a bad bet at all. So if you can jump on that game right now, I would recommend doing so, or even taking it as a teaser and getting it up to 11.5. I think that would be cool, or a 10.5. I guess it would be with a 6-point teaser. I would, combine the Raiders with the Bucks tonight in a teaser. That'd be pretty solid in my opinion. So we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota -3 in this game. This is another one where I trust the team with the veteran talent. I trust the team with the good coach, the consistent quarterback, the healthy quarterback. I like Minnesota in this game. I think the game is in Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm taking Minnesota here because of a few things. So Minnesota is probably the most underrated team entering this season in terms of what they've done to improve their roster. They've improved their defensive line drastically. Their interior is much, much better. They added Dalvin Tomlinson, Michael Pierce, and Sheldon Richardson to the fold, right? They have Danielle Hunter, one of the game's best pass rushers, back. That is going to be a challenge for Cincinnati to block both in the run game and in the passing game. They have Eric Kendricks, who's a baller linebacker. The cornerbacks are much improved. And what I like about them in this matchup is that they're veterans. They won't be caught out in space giving up big gashing down the field throws, right? They're not going to give up a huge play like they did last year versus the Packers in week 1 when they had all rookies. They have Bashaud Breeland, Patrick Peterson, Mackenzie Alexander. All these guys are veteran players, veteran cornerbacks who know this system, know it well, and will play it well. And then they have Harrison Smith commanding at the back. So they're not going to give up big plays to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to have to work their way down the field because I don't think they're going to have a lot of time to throw the ball down the field because Cincinnati's weak offensive line, along with Joe Burrow's knee, he's going to want to get the ball out quick. That makes me nervous. You look at the other side of the ball, I think that they could have their way running the ball. Dalvin Cook should have a big game in this game. I really think they should. Now, I will be intrigued to see how the Cincinnati pass rush plays versus Minnesota's offensive line because the Minnesota offensive line does certainly make me nervous. But they proved last year that as long as they get out to a lead, they run the ball, they work play action. Jefferson will be tough in this game. Thielen will be tough. I think Minnesota wins this game, and this is honestly one of my favorite bets of the week. I'm taking Minnesota -3. I'm just nervous about Cincinnati, their offensive line. I'm nervous about their quarterback. I'm nervous about the defense. I think Minnesota is the superior roster, and I don't think people and Vegas has caught up to the talent on the team. So I think the Vikings will win the game and cover. Next, we got the San Francisco 49ers at the Detroit Lions. Asia, you missed the Atlanta game. What's going on, Asia? I hope you're going to be on the live stream later tonight, Tampa Bay and Dallas, but you missed the Atlanta Falcons, so you might have to go back. San Francisco versus Detroit. So San Francisco is favored by 7.5. I think they're the far superior team, to be quite honest with you. San Francisco is one of the best teams in football, one of the best rosters in football. Jimmy Garoppolo will be the starter in this game. You might see a tad bit of Trey Lance in this game when it comes to third down, short yardage, red zone. You might see it. I'm intrigued to see how they use their running backs, Raheem Mostert and Trey Sermon. I'm very intrigued to see how they split between those two. My guess for fantasy players out there would be Raheem Mostert gets a majority of the carries between the 20s, but Trey Sermon gets a lot of the short yardage and he gets a lot of the red zone work, which I think both of them are starts this week for San Francisco in that backfield. The offensive line should dominate this matchup. Detroit does have a fairly strong D-line, and they won't necessarily get pushed around, but San Francisco is so good on the O-line. Like, I think people are underestimating it. Now, the main area where San Francisco could have success offensively is their receiving options. I don't see anybody on Detroit that can cover George Kittle. I don't see anybody on Detroit that can cover Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel, and I think Jimmy G will actually have a pretty strong game here. If you're in a deep fantasy league or a 2-quarterback league, I'd recommend you start him. Defensively, Jared Goff is not doing anything versus this defense. I'm going to be perfectly fair. Penei Sewell is going to have a very, very tough time versus Nick Bosa or Dee Ford. The Niners should win this game running away. Like, I don't think it's really close. They should. You know, you never really know in week 1, but I'm going to go with San Francisco to win the game. I'm going to say they win 31-17 over Detroit. So I got the Niners to win and to cover. Asia says 49ers win. We got Lions probably going to get the first overall pick or the Texans. We got July saying Ravens rip. Oh, that sucks, man. That sucks for the Ravens. That sucks. I guess I got to take them out of my playoffs now. I'd probably put the Dolphins in now. Maybe the Steelers because of the division, but Cleveland versus Kansas City. I think this is the game of the week, guys. I think this is the best game of the week by far. You've got arguably the two best, most talented AFC teams going at it in the first week with a lot of new on both sides. There's a lot of new Kansas City in terms of their offensive line, and there's a lot of new on the Cleveland defense. So I think this is what's ultimately going to determine who wins this game, is who performs better, who has more continuity, who shows more chemistry. Is it the Chiefs or is it the Browns on that side of the football? I think Cleveland, we saw last year, Cleveland stayed competitive with Kansas City. I thought they got a little bit unlucky with the whole Higgins out of the end zone, touchback thing where they should have scored a touchdown. But Patrick Mahomes left that game. Remember, they won it on a Chad Henne scramble at the end of things. This is a very good game. I'm looking forward to it. The one thing that I draw back to is that Andy Reid is incredible in week 1. Like, Andy Reid is so good in week 1. He is so consistent. He always comes up with new play calls, new creativity, new schemes, new formations, whatever it may be. He's going to come up with it. He's going to draw it up, and they're going to execute it. I could see Cleveland's new defense struggling a little bit in this game if they can't get pressure on Patrick Mahomes, but at the same time, this might be the week to take advantage of Kansas City up front because Kansas City has 3 or 4 new starters on their offensive line. So maybe Myles Garrett has a game. Maybe Jadeveon Clowney has a game. Maybe Malik Jackson has a game. So that could definitely turn the tide of this game. If Cleveland can control the ball, they've got a very good chance. I'm really looking forward to seeing Odell. You guys know he's one of my favorite players in the league, so I'm really looking forward to seeing him back and seeing if he can dominate, and he might very well dominate if he's healthy in this game because I don't know if they're really going to have anyone to cover him on the perimeter because L'Jarius Sneed often plays in the slot. Now, he might play on the outside versus Odell in 2 receiver sets, but I would expect him to take Landry when it comes to 3 receiver sets. So that might be something that Cleveland does in terms of just putting that personnel out there so that they force a better matchup for Odell on the outside. But I like Odell in this game. I like Chubb in this game. I think they're going to run the ball fairly effectively. But I think people are sleeping on Baker Mayfield, man. I think Baker is going to have a big year. I think he's going to have a big game, and I think this is going to be a shootout. So I'm going to say Cleveland. I'll cover with Cleveland, so I'm going to take the 6. But I will lean towards Kansas City in this game to win it because they have I think they have, with Andy Reid, the consistency of his September teams is too much for me to really go against. As well as I think Kansas City, They're at home in Arrowhead, first game of the year. It's hard to see them losing. So, especially after a big loss in the Super Bowl, they're going to want to revenge themselves. I'm going to take Kansas City to win the game, but I will take Cleveland to keep it close. So, I'm going to say it's going to be like 33-28. 33-30, 35-31. I think it's going to be a really, really good game. So, I'm looking forward to it. There's another great game right after. That is the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. This is probably the second best game of the week, if I'm looking at it. You have Miami, New England. You have Arizona, Tennessee, Los Angeles, Washington. Obviously, Dallas, Tampa. I think New England, Miami is going to be a very fun game and a very intriguing one. I think for football fans, true football fans, you'll want to tune into this game because there's great coaching on both sides. Obviously, you're going to see Mac Jones' first performance, see how he looks versus a very stout Miami defense. New England's at home in this game, so that's certainly an advantage for them because they fare much better versus Miami at home than they do in Miami on the road. This is obviously an AFC East game to kick off the year. You've got the Alabama boys. You've got Mac Jones versus Tua. Personally, I think Mac Jones is a better player. I did coming into the draft. I honestly think he is right now. But to say that Tua won't be better in week one, I mean, that would be, he's had more experience in the NFL. But I think ultimately I'm going to go with New England. And it's not just because I'm a Patriots fan. Obviously, I'd like to see them start off the season well. But I think the key mismatch in this game, when I really look at it, from both sides, I think New England's pass rush is far, far superior to Miami's offensive line. I think that is really the key to this game. If New England can get consistent pressure on Tua, it's going to make life very, very difficult. On top of that, Belichick can kind of hone in on that and hone in on pressure on Tua because they don't have an effective running game. So I think that's going to cause issues for Miami's offense. It could cause turnovers as well. So I think that's the main issue. When you look at the other side of the ball, sure, Miami has an experienced defense, a good defense, but New England has a strong O-line. They can run the ball on you. They can keep Mac clean, which will be key to the game. New England has their fans back. That's a big deal because New England is a big home field advantage. So, that's really the key to me. Also, Gilmore's out on New England, but Will Fuller's out on Miami. So it's kind of a wash there. So in terms of matchups, I would expect to see Devontae Parker drawing J.C. Jackson, Jonathan Jones covering Jalen Waddle, and then probably Preston Williams being covered by Jalen Mills or Jawan Williams, depending on who they go with there. Mike Gesicki could have a decent game. And for New England, I think their running game will have a good game. And I think probably their tight ends will have a good game. I'd expect a big game from Jonnu Smith. So I'm going to take New England 24-16 over Miami. I don't think Miami scores over 20 in this game. I expect New England to just dip into the 20s, but it should be a low-scoring game in this one, but probably fairly close and entertaining. Next, we've got the Denver Broncos at the New York Giants. The Giants are underdogs at home, plus 3 points to Denver. Oh, also, I didn't say what I would pick in terms of the spread. If I had to lean either way for Miami, New England, I'd take New England to cover, I should say. But it's not one of my favorite bets of the week. But if I were to bet it, I'd take New England. Turtle says Patriots interior O-line will dominate. Damian Harris will go off. I could see that. What's my age? I am now 25. I just turned 25. Who are y'all cheering for tonight? Everybody let Asia know who you're cheering for tonight. Turtle has Kansas City winning 34-29. I should promote the pick'em. I forgot about that. Maybe I'll do that next. Maybe I'll do that tonight, but I don't know. If you guys want to join the pick'em, I'm sure Turtle could probably post the link to the pick'em for BLV. All right. We've got Denver versus the Giants. So the Giants are at home. This game is in New York, right? This game, I think, is going to be super low scoring. If there was an under to bet, I don't know what the number is. It would be this one. I mean, like, this game is going to be an absolute 1984 like slugfest. Both teams are very, very good up front on defense and will cause their opposing rushing games a lot of fits. I think the hope for the Giants here is that is really that Saquon breaks away. Like, if here's the game changer, really, for me. If Saquon is Saquon from like snap one, I know we're hearing that he's not going to be like full force in this game, but trust me. If Saquon is good to go and he looks really good, Jason Garrett and Joe Judge are not going to hold him back. Like, he's just going to play. Like, it will be like an Adrian Peterson situation. Now, he might be the game changer here because we've seen the numbers of Daniel Jones with and without Saquon. They're not pretty without him, and they're with him, they're pretty good. I feel like in this game, he's the difference if the Giants are going to win because, like, the Broncos are going to stuff the run multiple times, but he's a guy that can go minus, and then go 70, right? So, like, he could make one or two big plays. That's the difference. I also am intrigued to see the Giants receivers, new receivers in this game, but I'm not sure they've built much chemistry with Daniel Jones due to the injuries. And the real big issue for me is the Giants' offensive line versus the pass rush of the Broncos. Now, I recently saw Bradley Chubb is not 100%, so that could be a game changer. But Von Miller's back and he's ready to go, and they've also got some pass rushers in the inside like Shelby Harris. That's the key mismatch for me, is that big front seven, that powerful, explosive front seven versus the Giants' iffy offensive line. On the other side of the ball, the Giants will stop the Broncos multiple times. They've got a good secondary. They've got a great front. They'll probably blitz the heck out of Teddy Bridgewater in passing situations. So this one could really go either way. I am going to lean towards Denver because I think they're a more talented team, and I have less questions about their offensive line. I have less questions about their continuity, their chemistry, and just the weakness of the Giants' offensive line has me scared from picking the Giants. As much as I'd like to pick them, I think the Broncos are the superior team, and I think that one mismatch will really be the determining factor in the game. So I'll take the Broncos to win. This would not be one of my favorite bets. If I were to bet this at all, it'd probably be the under. But I'll take Denver to win, and I'll also take Denver to cover because the likeliness of the game being within, I guess it's a low-scoring game, but the likeliness of it being 1 or 2 points is probably not likely. So I'll just take Denver in this game. I don't think Denver will be blown out. Like, I think the Broncos have a possibility of blowing out the Giants, but I don't think the Giants could possibly blow out the Broncos, if that makes sense. All right, let's read a few comments, then we'll get to the Packers and the Saints. Daniel says, Mitch, you're going live for tonight's game. Yes, I am. Daniel says Saquon goes off. My fantasy teams hope so. Definitely. I love Saquon, man. Big Al says this game has the makings of a 17-13 game or a 10-3 game. Offense will take a back seat. I agree. Guys, 70 people in the chat. Appreciate you guys joining in. If you haven't already, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. Do check out my bookie because tonight, guys, only tonight, I'm telling you, only tonight, you have to head over to my bookie because it's the lock of the season. Lock of the season. If either team scores between the Cowboys or the Bucs, you win. All right? So use the code BLV100. You get double your money on your first deposit, and you get the lock of the season. It's like free money, bro. I'm doing the same thing. It's free money. So make sure you check out my bookie. Am I married? I'm not married. Asia says you're 5 years older than me. Really? Wow. I don't know. Asia seems more mature than 20 years old. Turtle says, I have no clue who's winning this one. I'll take Giants 21-19. Simon, what's going on, Simon? All right, let's get to this Saints game, guys. The Saints will not be at home, even though it appears they will be. They will not be at home. This game will be played in Jacksonville. Green Bay is -4.5 in this game. I think this one has the makings of a pretty good, like under the radar, pretty good game. Like I think New Orleans could keep this game pretty competitive overall. And the reason I say that is I'm a little bit nervous about Green Bay's offensive line without David Bakhtiari. You know, they have 2 rookies starting, and the Saints have a good pass rush. Like Cameron Jordan, Marcus Davenport, some of the other edge guys that they've brought in, good players. I think they can get pressure. And their linebackers, you know, Demario Davis with the stunts and the blitzes, if they could take a page out of the Bucs book, they could create some issues for Aaron Rodgers on that side of the ball. Like, I wouldn't be too shocked by that. Bradley Roby's into the mix now. I'm not sure how much he'll play just because he was just added, but maybe he'll fit right in. I'm not exactly sure his recognition of the system or the scheme, but I think down the road he fits well. I really like Bradley Roby. I think he's a good player. And a very good number 2 corner. But Marshawn Lattimore will see a lot of Devontae Adams, and I guess it depends what Marshawn Lattimore we're seeing. Are we seeing the Marshawn Lattimore that plays Mike Evans, or are we seeing the Marshawn Lattimore that plays, I don't know, pick one of the receivers, Calvin Ridley, I guess. But I would expect Devontae to get his, as he always does. The only real reason I'm going to take Green Bay, honestly, is because I don't know if the Saints have enough when it comes to their passing game, and I can't not pick Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to take Green Bay in this game because their pass defense is quite good and their quarterback is really good. So I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers. Oh, he's suspended. Okay, so he won't be playing. All right, thank you for that. I will say, though, I think the game will be fairly competitive, fairly close, fairly tight. I will take Green Bay to win. I'm considering if they're going to cover or not, because 4.5 is a tricky number. I don't mind this game as actually a teaser, but I'll take. Man, this sucks. I'll take Green Bay, I guess. I mean, I'd be pretty pumped if Jameis Winston came out with the win here, but I'll take Green Bay both ways. I'm not, again, as you guys can see, I'm not 100% on that, but I do think the game will be good. I'm looking forward to it. Marquez Callaway, we'll see what he's got versus Jair Alexander, as well as the new secondary, not new, but adding new pieces to the secondary for Green Bay. I think I brought this up in their preview, but I think Green Bay's defense is going to be better than last year. I think their offense is going to be worse than last year. And I think that's kind of going to equate to still about the same good team. But I think Green Bay's defense could be the reason they win this game, to be honest. All right. Chicago at the Rams. The Rams are at home. It's the debut of Matthew Stafford and the new McVay offense. I'm very excited to see this on Sunday night because you guys know I'm one of the biggest Matthew Stafford supporters on the internet, and I always have been. So I'm really looking forward to Matthew Stafford putting on a show. I will remind you guys that Matthew Stafford had his best game of the season last year versus the Chicago Bears in Chicago when he put up over 400 yards. They won the game. Detroit did, and he had no Golladay. So it was a pretty good performance. Now with the Rams, I think he could do a similar thing. I think Stafford's going to have a huge game in this game. I think he's going to have 350, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. I think Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp's going to dominate. The only real issue I see in this game is the front of Chicago is talented and could cause issues for the Rams as they have in the last couple of seasons. But a lot of that had to do with Jared Goff not being able to pick up pressure and decipher pressure. And I think Matt Stafford's recognition of Chicago's defense and the understanding that he's played them many seasons in a row, he can pick up on their tendencies and give McVay a better idea of what he's seeing. And then, I don't see Chicago covering these receivers. I don't know. Vildor Kindle is going to cover Cooper Kupp. Are you kidding me right now? So I see Stafford having a big game, and I don't see much from the Rams' run game, to be honest. I don't think Henderson or Michelle will have a breakout game. The defense for the Rams is definitely going to cause issues when it comes to Aaron Donald pass rushing. You've got Jalen Ramsey covering Allen Robinson, Darius Williams probably on Darnell Mooney. This is just a very bad matchup for Chicago's offense. Andy Dalton on primetime is another reason to bet on the Rams here, as he's terrible on primetime and often puts up a stinker. So I'm going to take the Rams to beat and live up to the hype in this game. I'm going to say they win 30-13 over Chicago, and they will cover the spread. And my final game. So we just heard about the Ravens. So as far as I understand it, because I was live as this news broke, Gus Edwards and Marcus Peters both went out on the same day with an ACL injury. Is that correct? Is that correct? You guys let me know, but the Raiders and the Ravens, this game just changed a lot. It's on Monday Night Football. The Ravens are favored by 4.5 in this game. The Ravens seemingly are a big-time favorite, right? You would think, but given all of their injuries, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, right? Marcus Peters, who's crucial. Marcus Peters is crucial to this team. I mean, you guys don't even know. This secondary for the Ravens are absolutely what they rely on defense. They need those cover corners, and I wouldn't be shocked if they went out and trade for somebody. You know, they probably regret trading that kid to New England now as a depth, but I would expect, I don't know if Jimmy Smith is healthy either. You guys remind me, is Jimmy Smith healthy? Because that's if he's not there either, you're going to force Anthony Everett onto the field. Honestly, guys, I like the Raiders in this game. You know, maybe I'm overreacting, but I was actually thinking about the Raiders earlier in the week. You know, I was thinking about the matchup, and something really stands out to me about the Raiders. Okay, so the Raiders are at home. It's on Monday Night Football. They're the Monday Night Dog, which is always something I like. My dad taught me that from a very young age. The Raiders on defense have Gus Bradley as their defensive coordinator. Gus Bradley was the defensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Chargers the last few years. In LA, he played the Ravens 2 years ago in the playoffs. This was a game where the Chargers shut down Lamar Jackson, shut down the Ravens' run game. The Raiders last year were a pretty good run defense. They have a fairly talented front seven when it comes to stopping the run. And I think they actually have enough linebackers to contain the Ravens' rushing attack. Also, Rashad Bateman is out. Sammy Watkins is inconsistent and unreliable. Marquise Brown's unreliable. You know, Mark Andrews might be an issue. Lamar's going to need to pass the ball in this game to win. And the Ravens aren't a very creative passing team. On the other side of things, the Raiders have a good offense with a good scheme. And their offensive line isn't great, but the Ravens don't really have great straight-up pass rushers. So they're going to have to blitz to get pressure. Darren Waller is a mismatch nightmare. I don't know who's going to cover him. If Jimmy Smith's healthy, it could be him. I'm going to go with the Raiders. I don't know. I have a feeling about this one. I'm going to take the Raiders plus the 4.5 for sure. But I'm also going to take them to win the game in Las Vegas. I think it's going to be really rowdy, really loud, really intense in Vegas. I've heard the atmosphere for sports there is insane, like the hockey team. I'll take the Raiders, man. I think the Ravens losing so many players so close to the season is such a killer for them. I have now taken them out of my playoffs and replaced them with the Miami Dolphins, but I'm going to take the Raiders, man. I just have a feeling. I might be totally wrong about this one. The Ravens are very good at the beginning of seasons, but I think the matchup is there for the Raiders to take it, and I'm going to go with the upset. I didn't take many upsets in this video, so I got to sprinkle the odd one in there. Is Le'Veon Bell actually a decent fantasy running back pickup? Now he is. Now he is. I wouldn't have said before, but now he is. Big Al says that spread's going to change after the injuries to Peters and Edwards. Yeah, that's why I said earlier when it happened, if you could jump on it, jump on it. How is Darius Williams on Darnell Mooney a bad matchup? Meb expects a 33-23 from the Bucks and Cowgirls. Mario has Raiders 117 to the Ravens 3. Markel Callaway has Ravens 59, Raiders 10. Ravens are the 2029ers, says Isaac. That might be true, actually. Drusev says, wait, who's their running back right now? Might pick them up in fantasy. So Le'Veon Bell, and I think the starter will be Tyson Williams, I think, or Tyshawn Williams is his name. Am I wrong about that? I don't remember. It's something like that. He's like the third or fourth string running back. Needle asks, was I on castrating the marks this week? I was not, because I had to go attend a big league fantasy draft. So that took priority, so I wasn't on this week. We'll be on next week, though, as far as I know. Brandon says Washington plus 1.5 is my favorite bet. I don't expect that to happen again, Connor. Jimmy says his best upset is the Raiders. Jimmy Smith is back, says July. Asia says, I'm not cheering for nobody in that game. I just want to see a good game. All right. Justice Hill's out for the year as well. All right, guys. Well, that is it for week number 1. Just a quick reminder. My bookie, guys. My bookie. I've been saying it a few times today, but I'm just trying to help you guys win free money. Like, I don't know about you, but I like to win free money. So if you like easy money, you can head over to my bookie. Use the lock of the season, which, guys, is only happening right now tonight. The lock of the season. Dallas Cowboys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If either team scores, you win money. Okay? When you get a sure bet, you take it. Trust me on this. I do this. All right? Head to mybookie.ag today. Use my code BLV100 to instantly receive double your first deposit. That's BLV100. mybookie.ag. Check it out when you're betting this week, and especially tonight. Get that lock of the season. There's literally not been a game that both teams have not scored since World War II. So if you want free money, take it. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. And for all of you left in here, tonight we're going to be live for the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The first game, the opener. Right after I watch the Ed Sheeran concert, I'm going to be here to break it down, the live stream. I'm going to be giving you the play-by-play. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts, my analysis, and reacting to Tom Brady absolutely shredding the Cowboys. I can't wait for it. So be there tonight. The Bucs, the Cowboys. I'm looking forward to seeing all you guys. Of course, I'll be answering all your questions, all your comments, and we're going to have some fun. So thanks, guys, for joining me for a week of picks. I'm looking forward to 2021 and this NFL season. Stick around. Next week, we will be live Wednesday night. Okay, so not on Thursday. Wednesday night each and every week moving forward. Thanks for watching. It's Mitch. Peace.